I once thought I knew what true sacrifice meant. I gave everything for my marriage, working 2 jobs, putting my wife through college, building a home, raising our kids. But when I finally reached my breaking point and asked for help, my wife just looked at me, dead in the eye, and told me to man up. That wasn't even the worst part. The worst was what happened on Father's Day, a moment of public humiliation that finally shattered something inside me. Many years ago, my wife, Sarah, begged me to take on a second full-time job. It was for her, she said, to put her through college, get her degree. And I did it. I worked myself to the bone. But the moment she completed that degree, out of absolutely nowhere, she decided she didn't actually want to work. She'd rather stay home with our child. Fine, I thought. I love our kid. About a year later, our second child was born. Suddenly, that single income wasn't going to cut it anymore. I tried, gently at first, to convince Sarah to work. She refused. So, what did I do? I went back to school myself, pursuing a master's degree, all while still working 2 jobs. It was brutal. I was constantly exhausted, running on fumes, but I did it. I did it for us, for our family. Fast forward 3 years. Here I am, supporting a household of 4 on a single income. I work 50-hour weeks, and when I finally drag myself home, guess what? I'm doing the washing, I'm doing the cooking, I'm driving the kids everywhere. 75% of the household responsibilities fall on my shoulders. And the worst part? Sarah refuses to help me. I've asked her countless times, begged her even. But each time, she just shrugs, says she works just as hard, whatever that means, and if I'm so tired, I should stop working so much. It's almost comical how hypocritical she is. I actually took her advice, sort of. A while back, I took 2 weeks off without telling her. She absolutely freaked out. Her spa day was at risk. Her spa day. Meanwhile, she seems to have this constant need to one-up me. If I tell her I had a bad day, hers was always worse because I'm lucky I got to go away for work while she has to stay home. If my feet hurt from walking 30,000 steps during work travel, she'll scoff and say, "That's nothing compared to her standing and cooking with a child clinging to her for the past 2 years." For the past couple of years, she's actually told me I ruined her life, her opportunities. She makes me feel like absolute garbage, acting as if she wasn't the one who wanted to be a stay-at-home mother in the first place. My mother-in-law lives with us, and honestly, she's a gem. She does her best around the house, despite her age, and she's been a quiet observer of all this. She pulled me aside recently, her eyes full of concern, and said she'd noticed a change in both Sarah and me. She pointed out my greater attachment to the kids, and that I've hugged the dogs and talked to them more about my life than I have to my own wife. She was right. I'm in emotional survival mode. I'm one step from climbing the career ladder, and one step from finding comfort at the bottom of a whiskey bottle. I knew I couldn't keep going like this. So, I confronted her. And for once, I didn't back down when she tried her woe is me routine. But instead of talking it out, instead of addressing a single one of my points, she just packed a bag and left, going to stay with her sister. The very next day, she tried to come back and take the kids with her to her sister's place. I was vehemently against it, and thankfully, so was her entire family, including her sister. It wasn't fair to sweep our kids away from their home, and it certainly wasn't fair to put that financial and housing stress on her family, considering she doesn't work and her sister's family lives with their dad. After a little over a week of being gone, I guess she cooled off. She just walked back in the door with her bags, as if she'd just popped out to Target. She came into my home office while I was on a conference call, glaring at me. I couldn't just jump off. It's a critical time of the quarter for us. But that clearly didn't sit well with her. The moment I took off my headset and closed my laptop, she started screaming at me, accusing me of not caring about her or her well-being. At that point, I couldn't do anything but look at her and slowly shake my head. My mother-in-law, bless her, came in, heard the yelling, and pulled Sarah away, telling her not to bother me. Our nanny kept the youngest out of earshot, safely on the other side of the house. That night, after the kids were in bed, I sat in my office with a drink, just like I had every night she was gone. Sarah came in. We talked. We argued. We cried. We drank. One thing led to another, and we ended up in bed. I wish I could say that was our making up, that it was a turning point. But the next sobering morning, as we lay there, she went on about how hard it was for her the entire time she was gone. It was all about her struggles staying at her family's house, in her old room, with her dad and sister's family. How lucky I am to be able to stay here, do this, do that, buy this, or not stress as much as they did. How easy my life, and everyone else's in our family, is compared to hers, even though we had similar upbringings. My mind and heart shattered all over again that morning. I've been spiraling ever since. This past week, I made one more attempt to reconcile, to talk things out. But it was just another shouting match. I tried to express my current stress, my anxieties about life and work in general. And her response? Well, do you know how hard this is all for me? You're supposed to help me be happy. I looked at her, utterly defeated. So, when it comes to my happiness, my stress, my needs, my overall well-being, me, I should just get over it, right? She just snapped. We all have our own problems. You need to figure it out and get over them. I don't know who the woman I'm living with is anymore. That's not the woman I married, the one I vowed to spend my life with, to raise our kids alongside. Since that conversation, I've been noticeably distant. I've been sleeping in my office, or on the couch, or with one of the kids in their bed after putting them to sleep. Nothing has changed. She still starts her day at 10 a.m., sitting on her phone, talking to her mom groups, while our kids are in the care of my mother-in-law or the nanny. And I doubt anything will change. Honestly, I think even if we got a divorce, nothing would really feel different. When she left for that week, my days felt just like any other, maybe with a little more takeout than usual. My biggest fear isn't just losing my wife, it's losing my kids in the process. After a hard push from our family, an intervention of sorts, Sarah and I finally attempted marriage counseling. I'm sure many of you can guess how well that went.
Blame. Tears.
Regrets. Gaslighting, with a side of I am the reason for her life being ruined and horrible. Again. Just this time, it was in front of a licensed therapist instead of her mom groups. Everything the therapist suggested, every observation she made, just went right over Sarah's head. She ignored it all because it went against her status quo. One thing that stuck with me was when the therapist asked her if she could recall when she last truly felt happy. Her response? About 12 or so years ago. Please note, 12 years ago, she was still in her 20s, childless, living with her ex. A vastly different time, a vastly different life. I know it's petty, but I thought to myself, if that's when she was last happy, maybe it wouldn't be such a stretch for her to find that happiness again, since her ex is still in the same apartment, same job, same place in life he was 12 years ago. Which, hey, is fine if that's how you want to live life. I try not to judge, but in my 40s with kids, going clubbing 3 or 4 days a week just isn't my jam anymore. And for those wondering, I know and can confirm she hasn't physically cheated on me. Emotionally? I can't say for sure. I checked her phone records after that session. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I didn't bother checking apps like Instagram or Snapchat. I'm probably boring, but shout out to all the Costco dads whose Sunday fun day includes making rounds with kids for samples. The following weekend was Father's Day. This year, as expected, it wasn't some huge celebration, as it often isn't for many dads out there. Our family got together for a barbecue, just simple family time. Sarah treated it like any other day. Sleep in, get up, cook, phone, shop, attempt to play with kids, phone. During the barbecue, she said she felt ill, so she just sat around while the rest of the family, my mother, her parents, her sister's family, our kids, all pulled together to make the experience enjoyable. When everything was set up and we were all at the table, I was conversing with my brother-in-law about our kids' school Father's Day activities. I mentioned it was a little sad to see some kids sit alone without their fathers during the Breakfast with Dad event I attended. I assumed Sarah overheard. And then, she blurted out, with a loud, mocking laugh that echoed across the dining room, "It's not like you do anything anyway." I could have gone instead. My blood ran cold. I was absolutely enraged, and at a complete loss for words, just sitting there processing what she had just said. The dining room went dead silent. My mother-in-law, again, bless her, broke the excruciating awkwardness. She looked at Sarah, then at me, and said, "Well, maybe if you feel that way, one of you should divorce the other." Sarah looked confused that her own mother would say that, then laughed mockingly in my direction. Pointing her hand at me, she sneered, as if another woman would want a man like him. "Just look at you." The room was silent again. I was angry, heartbroken, confused, and utterly embarrassed, all at the same time. In proper manly man fashion, I just nodded my head in silence, stood up, picked up my keys, and walked out. I got in my truck and drove off to get a drink, trying desperately to ignore the cries of my family and our kids telling me to stay. I don't know what was said or done while I was out that Sunday, because I couldn't bring myself to check our house cameras. But when I returned early Monday morning, the house had a completely different feel. As usual, I woke up around 6 o'clock, got myself and our oldest ready for school drop-off, checked emails, checked messages. Nothing out of the ordinary. As I was getting dressed to leave, Sarah lay in our bed, snoring lightly. All I could do was look at her and think of what we had and what we had now lost. I've decided. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I texted my lawyer that morning to move forward with serving her. Fast forward to last week. She was served at our home. She had what you could call a mini meltdown, storming into my office screaming, "How could I do this to her?" My mother-in-law intervened, which resulted in Sarah accusing me of supposedly turning her whole family against her. I confess, I probably would have felt bad if it hadn't been immediately followed by the rest of her week acting as if she'd been this active, attentive wife and mother for the past few years. Sure, people can say she's making an attempt, but she's made many attempts, and historically, we always fall back to where we've been. For those curious, I'm aiming for full, or at least majority, custody of our kids. I already cover, and will continue to cover, all their expenses, insurance, tuition. Both kids will be attending private schools come fall, medical bills, everything. My mother-in-law has given me the courage and strength that helped supplement my own mother's support throughout this. Basically, she is what I hoped the kind of mother and wife Sarah would have been to our kids and me. Out of respect for my mother-in-law, and per my own mother's shared wishes, I will continue to oversee and contribute financial help if needed during her cancer treatments. While some might feel I should cut her whole family off, I know the hardships pushed onto a family dealing with cancer, and I've dealt with it firsthand, both as a family member and a care provider. All in all, I'm prepared to go to war if needed, but I just want a clean, no-fuss divorce. Sarah has no alimony coming. Sorry to the Redditors and Mommy Gang Facebook groups saying she needs to divorce me first and get that sweet, sweet alimony money. 1. We live in a state that does not typically enforce alimony. 2. She has a clear means of gainful employment immediately. And 3. To help curb any possible problems, I will cover her insurance and bills until either the divorce is finalized or when she gains full employment. So, that's that. I'm done, and I'm waiting for the final steps to be taken. Sorry it wasn't as exciting a story with plot twists as some may have hoped for, but that's life. I'm not sure I'll update this once it's all finalized, which probably won't be for a few more months, depending on if we go to war or not. Has anyone else out there found themselves in a situation where they just knew it was time to walk away, even when it felt like everything was stacked against you? I'd really love to hear your thoughts.